to Laugh and Monkey Music Show. Today we have a friend of the show, Coke. Coke is from Virus. What do they call it? Legendary,
Oh, I hope
Leech
not.
Band. Um,
I hope
they have all
not.
kinds of terms, right? Well, Legendary is okay because it's not like you don't hear like them say that the Village People are legendary. You know what I'm saying? They're just a retro band. Legendary has some meat to it, like you did
Yeah, but
something
yeah, but they put you
that's
on a
going to stand the test of
pedestal.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, but
I
they
wouldn't
put
say
you on a
that.
pedestal, man, and like they expect you, they expect you to like deliver the goods, and like
Okay, first off, they're gonna
oh,
do
this
that's,
guy's
everyone expects you to do something every time. It doesn't matter where they put you. They're always gonna expect you to do something that you're not gonna do. And you're never gonna
yeah,
win.
they put labels on you. I can't fucking stand these labels, man.
No.
I just I'm a guy who plays guitar in a thrash band. I always have been. I've done it for a long time. I've got tons of experience of gigging, but a legendary, nah. I'm not
I,
in this.
I I appreciate you saying that, but from this side of the aisle,
Mm,
the status
mm,
of the music you've done and that type
mm,
of music itself, anybody from that time period considered legendary in a level that
okay,
and like I had Alex on from Testament a couple months ago, right? And my
yeah,
favorite thing about bands from this that time period, and I don't think it's old, I
mm,
think it's still relevant, is
yeah,
there were so few things out there. There was not Axe Effects, there was not this, there was not that. You found your pedal, you found your
yeah,
amp, and that was your
yeah,
sound. And every
yeah,
band had a pedal, an amp, and a sound.
yeah.
And every singer had a
Basically,
sound, either a gruff voice or a high screamy voice. Like, but every thrash band had a different sound. There weren't American Idol voices, which were great because you knew who they were. You knew Dave
yeah,
Mustaine. You knew Chuck. Like you knew these people. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. Of
And
course,
that was such a fresh time. So to me,
very distinctive
right.
sound.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the time of just creating it. You put your time in, and that's where you are, and you're still here. So
Yeah, but these
that's
guys
what
are
it
at
meant.
legendary state. These guys are at legendary status because they've done something so positive and so like to build up such a big fan base. They started the genre. Dave
Right.
Mustaine, James Hetfield. You've got Scott Ian from Anthrax. Uh, Skolnick of Testament. All those guys, those guitarists have reached a height of legendary status. We are just like the just like I suppose like the followers. We're the followers of that
All right.
legendary status because we've because we were one of the first thrash bands in the UK. I suppose that has some sort of
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying
significance.
you're big. I'm not gonna be on commercial things. And isn't it
No,
funny if
no,
you look back now when people like Scott and you'd be like, all these bands, they feel like they're so in the thrash area, they're so big and celebrity like when really at the time they're just other bandmates. But now
yeah,
because the time's gone on, it
nah,
feels like
yeah,
it's so
yeah,
different. You're like, not really. They were just a good band that was writing some riffs. This band was writing these riffs, and now
yeah.
everyone's got these weird status titles. But it's also semantics because I feel in my mind it's the same
Mm,
family. I'm not talking commercial sales. I'm talking just your own sound. You
mm.
sweat it out. You gig in. You're not going for the money. You're working your whole life doing this.
No,
That's what
you
I'm saying.
can't.
This is yeah. There's still a lot of money in anything, but the albums you guys did in the beginning
Mm.
were fantastic. They hold
Oh,
water. I think so.
oh,
And
thanks.
in your new music, I loved your last
Yeah,
album. You
yeah.
know,
Well,
you
the next album might be a little bit more crossover. Might be a little bit more. I'm going for a more hardcore type thing. Not as technical. I know I can do the technical thing, and there might be a few technical songs in there, but it won't be the full crux of the album. The album it won't be you know the 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 body of the album won't be like
Mhm.
I won't label it as a thrash album because it's really more of a crossover. Like I suppose like the Crumb Suckers, like DRI, like Leeway, like Ludacris,
Yep.
something along those lines, like Marauder, like
Mhm.
little things like that, like but because I hate being put up on a label as like black thrash or death thrash or speed metal or I don't think we fit into those categories. I don't think we've ever fitted into those categories. I've always thought in my mind that we were crossover. I've always
I don't
thought that.
think anybody really thinks that, because I'll be honest with you, so I'm gonna step back. So I've been lucky enough, a couple of bands you mentioned.
Yeah,
Well, I had Ludacris, Glenn on, and then obviously Scatterbrain, and our friends, this guy
yeah,
from Scatterbrain's been a lot, and they never really considered themselves that because they were really kind of a funkier, fun band. And
yeah.
then
They're more
I've
of
had, yeah,
cross. They're more a fusion.
and then I had Eddie Leeway on a bunch of times, who
Yeah,
sadly
yeah,
passed recently. You know, and he had his own views on what their sound was. You know what I mean? You know,
yeah.
and he was.
He's more of a punk rocker at heart.
I think he was at the end. Yeah, he passed this past year though. It was sad. He had cancer, and
Oh,
he fought to the
sorry
end.
to hear that. I didn't know.
Yeah, I was texting him like a couple days before, and he's like, he still wanted to come on and sell merch. I said, if you're not feeling good, he goes, I want to come on because he wanted to use the platform to sell and pay for his medical stuff. Like he still wanted to help take care of himself.
Oh, right,
Such a
right.
hardcore guy. I'm like, dude, he's like, and literally he's like, no, I just hurt today, but I'll come on. Never complained. And then like 2 days later, he had passed.
Oh
Um,
shit.
yeah, I was lucky to have him on, but the point is, he also had his own views on what he sounded like. So everyone doesn't think they sound like something. I'm just gonna
Mm.
say, remember DRI did the album Crossover and everybody freaked out because it was called Crossover? It was like, oh my
Yeah,
God, you're crossing genres.
yeah, yeah.
Back in the day,
Well, yeah, because like crossover was like a pinnacle album for me.
I know.
You
It
know,
was so funny back then, though. The big freak out. Think about it now.
yeah, yeah. And I spoke to Spike about it. It's like because like it's one of my favorite albums. One of my
Hmm.
favorite DRI albums is
Yeah.
like this crossover, and he says like that, and then I said that, and then you bring out a fucking album called Thrash Zone. So
Yeah.
I says like, and I says because I was gigging with him at the time, and I said like, I says, can't you make your fucking mind up? Are you
Take a left and
crossover or are
right.
you thrash? Yeah, like and then and you know like he likes both genres. You know, like he likes the hardcore, he likes the thrash. You
Hmm.
know, he likes to mix it up and like and I love his playing. I love Spike's playing. I think he's a fantastic
I
guitarist.
think it was an important album, though, for a lot. I think it influenced more people
Oh yeah,
than that. I think more of the people we've talked about influenced music forward now by those
it's a
clean
very
riffs, a few of those metal
it's,
riffs,
well,
you
it's a
know?
very to a lot of people. To a lot of people, it's very influential in the way that you know, like a lot of punks who were crossing over into the thrash scene,
Hmm.
they transitioned well because they did it through DRI and SOD. So like
Yeah.
a lot of people transitioned well into the thrash thing and became more thrashers than they were like listening to the hardcore
Oh,
because it
definitely. I think DRI pushed the thrashers and I mean the like the hardcore into thrash, and I think
yeah
Anthrax was on the other side because they loved the hardcore. We're grabbing
yeah
their
they
hands and
yeah
we're
oh
grabbing them and pulling them into thrash because the reverse bridge. You know what I'm saying?
well what yeah well one of Scott Ian's favorite bands is Fear.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's the fucking California band that made a huge statement. You know, and like I like hardcore. I've always liked hardcore. Like you know, I like the Boston sound, the SSD. You know, like the
What's your
Slapshot.
go-to album right now? What would you say like your favorite old school album
Uh,
that you listen to more often lately? I know it rotates. I know it rotates, but right.
that that that's a hard one. I would probably say, I would probably say Bad Brains, Eye Against Eye.
Okay, it's a good one.
I would probably say that.
Yeah.
Although I also like the FUs who are who are incredible and they're my mates.
Hmm.
I'm biased because I love the FUs
Well,
and
it's hard though because I mean, imagine. I mean, you go through phases. You're like, you hear the album, you take a break, you listen to another album. It's a new favorite,
yeah
but you're always going back to the old stuff. I do.
yeah exactly. I'm stuck in the 80s, Sean. I'm stuck in the 80s, man. I can't get out of the 80s. I hear something new, I go, oh, what is this shit? This is not thrash. And then you know, I'm going to stick my fucking neck out here, but like I had a band recently called Nervosa,
Hmm.
who are an all girl band, who are like a thrash band from like I think they're from South America or something.
Yeah,
But
I think so.
I heard them and I thought this is not fucking thrash for a start. And they're honestly putting these girls on the pedestal. And they're all great musicians. Don't get me wrong, they're great
Right.
musicians, but it's not fucking thrash. And don't label it as thrash because it sounds fuck all like thrash. It's like new metal crossed with heavy metal, and that's all I can say about it. I hate it. I hate it with a passion.
I'll have to go listen to it. I honestly don't know. I've only know the name of the band,
It's fucking
and I don't know
dreadful.
exactly. what they sound like.
It,
I have a hard time
it
with titling bands to begin with, especially newer bands,
yeah.
because new bands have a sound where it's like screamcore, metalcore, and it has a rock thing, then it has thrashy influences, but it's got more of a clean sound, and it's not the same. It's like another genre sounding. When you say
Well, then
thrash, to us, it feels like it's thrash in the 80s.
exactly. But look what's happened to Creator. Look what's happened to Creator. In my mind, they were one of the best European thrash bands ever.
Mhm.
And I'm saying where, because what they play now, I could not label that as thrash. It sounds like fucking Trivium on speed. It just sounds
Yeah,
like
but if it's
Trivium
an
on.
honest, but there's two things though. If it's an honest change, I embrace the band doing it, whether I like it or not. I'm not saying that in general.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah,
remember Metallica, the Black Album, they wanted to do
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Sweet, do it. You don't have to do the same
yeah.
song. You're a musician. Coke, if you want to do a country album, I'm gonna say more power to you. I'm not gonna like it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm saying,
No,
but
you
I'm not
probably
gonna.
wouldn't.
I probably wouldn't. But the point is, I'm not gonna be like he has no right to do it. I supported Metallica doing Lulu. I can't listen to it, but they
Oh
have every
yeah.
right to do it. They're an artist.
Oh, I
I
don't.
can't. I will not. I will not slash an artist for trying something or doing what they want.
Oh, I
But
don't know if I
but
supported them on that one.
no, I was okay with them. I'm saying I'm not going to diss somebody have the right to do it. It's their album, their music. They can try it. It was an abomination sound. Lou Reed's voice kills me every single
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but beyond that, what I'm saying, but everybody should create. I would want you not to be able to do what you want to do. If you want to make a different album, you should. That being
Yeah, but
said, is it the same as what they sound like now? No, they've changed.
a lot of bands, even the British bands, have done it as well. Like I can't really listen to like bands like Zentric these days because they become a different animal. Like it's just not. I just don't think it's thrash like it should be. I always think like everybody called us back in the day. They called us grassroots thrash, which
Okay.
at the time I thought was being insultive. I thought it was being insulted because I thought I was trying to I was trying to change the band and do something a bit more interesting with the melodies and
Hmm.
just not make it sound like a fucking Discharge rip-off band because that's what the album does sound like. It sounds like we're just trying to rip off Discharge.
Like the first one you talk about? I don't think so. I
Yeah, I
mean,
think it's
Force the Record.
I,
I mean, I've gone
there's a
back
lot
and
of
listened to them recently and kind of like, I don't know, they hold up pretty well.
well from a standpoint of the production, no, but
Oh, they all sound like that. They all sound like that. Come on.
yeah, yeah,
Listen,
true, true.
the first Venom albums, and I talked to Jeff.
Oh
I got them
yeah.
all. I got them all worked up. I got them all worked up telling them this. I said the first one. I said, the black metal albums got some songs. I said personally, I listened to it, but I had a hard time with the mixes of these albums. I said I would have
Yeah.
loved the guitar to be up in the front more clear sounding.
But
He's like,
but
no,
but
that's the
then
sound
again,
of the band. But I'm
but
like,
then
that's
again,
fine.
in South America, they want it even rougher. They love the rough mixes. I don't get it, but I can appreciate them, and I thank them for it. And but their favorite albums is like Pray for War.
Right.
Their
And that's
favorite
my
album is
thing. I'm
Pray for
like, I'm
War,
like,
and
oh, I couldn't do it. And he got
I
mad at me for that.
I don't get it. People ask me to play that album, and I fucking hate it. I hate every song in the fucking album. I just
Why?
I just don't like it. I just think that we progress so much
Hmm.
through the years, and like listening to the older albums. Even if I listen to Force Recon now, there's I think, oh my god, did I actually write that shit? It's like I went, why did I write it like that? Why didn't I write it more like something like the Americans were coming out with, rather than trying to do something that was completely out of the box and something different? And it just
I don't
sounded
know. I was
too,
I was listening to it a few weeks ago, even before you and I started talking again. I was doing some
yeah,
yard work and I listened to the whole album,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, it's a fun album. I enjoyed it.
It,
It's
it yeah, it was
got
it,
a lot of
it, it
energy.
was it was fun to write. I spent a hell of a long time like just writing it, and like trying. And the first press that we came out with it, I wasn't happy with it. I didn't like it at all because um, I went in the studio and I fell out with a couple of guys in the band. They said, "Well, this is fucking just like heavy metal music. It's just we don't want it to be like heavy metal. It's too nice." And I says, "Oh, okay, okay, okay. So I'll fucking rough it up a bit." So I roughed it up a bit, and I was angry. I was angry. So my angry side came out, and what you hear is my angry riffs, because the riffs we had before, they weren't so angry. They were kind of like jolly and like, hey, we're a happy thrash band. But nah, I had to kind of like evil it up a bit, if you
But
will.
everybody did that. Everybody did that.
Yeah,
Look at that.
yeah,
Look at Celtic Frost. And then he went on
yeah.
to other things. There was a time when they had makeup on and they were Celtic Frost. Remember that time period?
Oh, was that Cold Lake?
Yeah, something around the time. That was a weird period for them.
Oh fuck, we toured with them during that time. Oh
I
my
remember my
god.
buddy got that weird Celtic Frost. He goes, no, look at this album cover. We're like, oh,
Oh yeah, we were supposed to do that tour with Death,
Mhm.
but Chuck had a problem with the European promoters, so he pulled out. And at the very last moment, they got Celtic Frost in to headline the tour because Death were headlining that tour. It was
Really?
it was it was us, Creator, and Celtic Frost, and because Chuck pulled out, I was in my element because like I was going to be touring with Death, and I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
yes,
Chuck's
this
guitar
is
playing. Say what you want about his strong personality. To be able to see his playing every night would have been
yeah,
just, you can't touch it.
yeah,
He was the
yeah, and I was
king. He was the king at that time,
and
I
and and
think.
I, and I was like, I was downgraded to watching Tom G Warrior.
It was definitely a different time. I like his
Oh
heavy
yeah,
music. He's come out. He's changed. I think. My
oh
point
yeah.
is, he's got even heavier. But
Well, do you like Triptychon?
I do more when they first started. I haven't listened much lately. I'll be honest with you. I've dropped off. I listened to like the first album. I thought it was okay, especially because I was expecting Celtic Frost. I would have to go back and re-listen to it now because it's been so long since I've heard it.
Do you know the stuff that he does now? He has to do more Celtic Frost than he does Triptychon,
Does he?
because they don't want to hear Triptychon. They want to hear Celtic Frost. So every time he plays, they want to hear a lot of Celtic Frost.
Oh, that's. I did. Yeah, now I'm gonna go back and listen to more because as I think about it, I couldn't name a song. I remember when it first came out. Like I said, I gave him props, but I don't. I really can't think of it. Last time I've really listened to him, like actually say, like now and be like, yeah, I like it or I don't. I can't even think of a sound right now.
I've never been a huge fan of Celtic Frost. I mean, I got on so well with Reed St. Mark, who was a fantastic drummer. I mean,
Mhm.
and he's a really nice guy, and he was like the only guy I could connect with in that band. And when we finished the tour, he was the only guy that come and said goodbye to us. You know, and Tom G Warrior, very very unapproachable. Um,
Really? Even back
yeah,
then?
at the time he was very unapproachable, and the bass player who died, who's actually he's passed away. Very unapproachable guy, very very sort of I wouldn't say arrogant, but just self absorbed, pretty self absorbed, kind of narcissistic in a way. But
Hmm.
they were very unapproachable, and you couldn't get near the bus or that, and it was like and then Reed would come out and he'd speak to us and like very very chatty, the only American guy in the band, you know.
Hmm.
But he was because he played for the Spiritual Beggars as well. I think he played drums for the Spiritual Beggars, and he played for the Dan Reed Network.
Okay.
He played
Wow.
drums for the Dan Reed Network as well. And Reed Reed, great guy, fantastic bloke, very 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 friendly, excellent drummer, excellent drummer. I never seen a drummer play like him. Who'd like he bust the chain on one of his pedals, and he was playing with the one pedal, and the Rory just slipped it in under his feet, and he never missed the beat. It was amazing. And then he played with those huge drumsticks, which were
Oh,
like,
really? Yeah.
yeah, because he was a big guy. Reed was like this big guy, man, and I was like, how the hell can he play with those damn things? He came off and like he gave me a hug and everything when he came off stage, and that I got to know him really well on that tour. He was like a fantastic bloke.
I didn't know that much about him. I'm going to go back and look him up down YouTube and see if I can see some video now
Yeah,
to
you
watch it.
check him out. Check him out. I
You
think
know,
he's still around. I hope he's still around.
well, I mean, even the time period of watching the video because there's just so much out there back then, and we didn't have like YouTube. I'm 53, so I mean, I was right, MTV, the magazines, bootlegs.
Yeah. Well,
You
I'm
know,
60. I'm 60, and
yeah.
I'm like, like I go way back. I go way back to even before the Venom days. When I was listening to stuff like Leonard Skinner, Status Quo.
Yeah.
I was listening to Uriah Heep. Uh, long
I love
before
your
the
right
thrash
heap.
stuff. Oh yeah, I love Uriah Heep too. I mean, and yes, I was listening
I
to
love
Rush,
yes.
all the concept albums, like all these prog albums I was listening to. I thought never in a million years I'd be able to play any of that stuff. But as time passes and you get better, you're able to
Hmm.
play some of that stuff. And I love playing it. I love playing Rush. Um, Spirit of the Radio. I love playing it, man. It's such a cool track.
It's a fun riff. I think, I always say like when you learn a song, and I'm not a good guitar player by any means, but like when you learn it and you play it and you hear a
Hello,
song,
hello. Look at all the
it doesn't.
guitars.
Some are my kids. I learned late in life. I've just kind of learn and remember stuff. Don't forget, I have high function autism, so my brain does always remember stuff. So
Yeah,
I have good days and bad days.
yeah,
But I don't care. I'm like I love playing and I'll learn something. But my point is like you'll hear something like like in an elevator, and you'll be like, oh, if I hear this Eagles song one more time, just putting out there, people, is that I'm not gonna bash them. Point is, if I hear Take It Easy or something you've heard a billion times, whatever,
yeah.
you're like,
Then you end
oh.
up playing it at home.
But then if you play it, you're like, oh, those chord
Oh
changes are
yeah,
kind of fun. They're interesting. Like you didn't expect that because you're so sick of it.
yeah, of course.
But when you play the song, different.
I like the
Yeah.
obscure Eagle songs. I don't like the
Yeah.
the Take It Easy or
No.
Hotel California or something like that. I like the Julian Dalton's things and they're more obscure songs, the ones that never hit the charts. That's the Eagle songs that I really like. A lot of the Eagle songs and a lot of the songs of Leonard Skinner as well. The more unknown songs of Skinner and the
Hmm.
more unknown songs of Status Quo and Uriah Heep, and Molly Hatchet and stuff like that. Like when I listen to that stuff back, and like also like if you listen to like one of my favorite albums round about the period of the 80s was Operation Mindcrime by Queensryche.
Hmm.
It just stuck in my head. It just absolutely stuck in my head, and I listened to it religiously, and I thought the Chris DeGarmo was the best guitarist around at the time. I thought this man is insanely good.
He flies airplanes now.
No.
The pilot. Yeah, he did really well
Oh,
too. Yeah, yeah.
oh,
He
really?
he left guitar playing. I mean, I think he plays a little bit, but he's actually a full-time pilot and does really well at it.
Wow, he's a full-time pilot.
He's one of
My
those guys
God,
that
he's
can
got.
just do stuff. Like that's why
Yeah,
he's such a good guitar player. He's just so good.
I hate those kind of people. They can just turn their hand to anything.
A whole new career, right?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
like, I
I'm a
can't even do my one career. I can't be switching careers.
I'm a guitarist, banjo player. That's that that's all I am, and a skateboarder.
But that album though, I remember I lived in New England and I walked
Hmm.
just like it was like a snowstorm down to the
Hmm.
record store because I couldn't get a ride and like
Hmm.
sneakers or something. I was soaked in my Walkman just to go down and get that album and listen to it. And I didn't care. Coming home and I
Yeah.
listened to the cassette. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
blown away by it because the hype. I got it. And I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. It
Yeah,
was.
because like like what was it? I was listening to A History of Time to Come by Sabat.
Mhm.
And like I hated that album basically because they were rivals of ours back in the day. But then as I got older and I remember I had it on Spotify and it just came up on Spotify and I went and I didn't realize who they were and I just went, who the fuck was that? That my God, that's heavy. That sounds 80s. And I went, oh my God, it's so I says I actually like it. I actually love it. And I kept on putting it on repeat. I was going, oh my God, I like this so much. I goes, how good were
Wow.
they back then? I was like, oh my God, they were so
Well,
good.
because you were thinking differently. I mean, to me,
Props to Andy Sneap.
but the thing for me is like, but back even with Operation Mindcrime, I'm a big Yes fan. So to
Yeah,
me, Operation Mindcrime just felt very similar in concept to me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
The sounds, the songs. I mean,
And that
Yes to me
voice,
is huge. Yes,
and
it
that
is.
voice. I mean, Jeff's voice. Oh my God, incredible.
Especially at that time, you couldn't touch it. I mean, now you have voices that people can mimic it and do it, and it's great, awesome. That's very talented. But he came out doing that voice when no one else was doing that voice.
I know, I
Win or
know.
lose, he did that voice, and he was strong about it. He just led the charge. Especially like Lady
Yeah,
in Black when they
because
first came out, you're like, what is he saying?
yeah. But it's just how many people could reach that note and keep that note.
that long. Not
Oh my
not
God.
many, and not many can sing the same. But I mean, John Anderson, yes, he can still do it. He still
Yeah,
sounds
John
great.
Anderson, and Stephen Pearcy, maybe.
He sounds really great now. He had many improvements from singing and cleaning up. Sober, I think sobriety helps a lot of singers.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so. I
because
think
it's
so.
a lot of singers have taken care of their voice over the years, have stronger voices. Look, I've had John Anderson on, and he's still writing in his 70s. He's still writing albums and he's got more albums to write. I'm like, dude, where do you get the energy? I mean, it's crazy.
I
But
mean,
like
how old is John Anderson now?
he's got to be in his 70s.
Yeah, he's got to be in his 70s.
And he just released an album that was fantastic, and he's got another album he's working on. He's out of control with energy, that guy.
Wow, that's
He's a
crazy.
small guy with a tiny voice, that's a tiny, huge voice. But
Yeah,
but as I said, Piercy sounds great now. People argue with me. I think he sounds fantastic. Um, but then you got Dokken, and Dokken's trash his voice, and he knows it. He's like, I don't care, don't come to my show.
yeah,
He had a
yeah.
great high voice
I
at that
love
point.
Don Dawkins. I love Don Dawkins' voice. I
Yeah,
thought it was brilliant.
at the time, his voice fit perfectly, with George's sound, and you
Well,
know,
he had one of my favorite guitar players at the time, George
yeah.
Lynch, man. Incredible. I still can't play like George Lynch. I would love to play like George Lynch. He's just
I saw him a
so
few months ago. He was like this close because I had spoken to him, right, and what happened is so I ended up doing a show. Go down.
yeah,
I'll shoot it, and I know some people like don't do videotape it, whatever. I do it in a way where I don't block anybody. First, I would never have it block anybody. But what's happened to
yeah.
me is it's generally an artist I know, but people have written to me and said stuff like, "Oh my God, thanks. I was gonna go to the show, I couldn't go to it. People in other countries couldn't go to it." To me, it's the same idea of growing up. We wouldn't have those Zeppelin things. We wouldn't have
No,
those bootleg rushes if somebody didn't sneak a recording device. So to be
no,
mad about somebody else doing it, when all
yeah.
of us grew up on the Sex Pistols bootlegs, look at anybody hardcore or anybody rockers, we all have
Mm.
bootleg VHS because nothing was authorized in the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tape
You couldn't
trading
get
is was copying. So you
yeah.
can't draw a line like you shouldn't do it. It's ruined. You should be there. Someone's got to record it well. This show, someone, but you got to do it. Block people.
But
But when I did shows like that,
but you still
oh, I
bought the
did.
bootleg. I
Yeah,
bought the bootlegs as well. I mean, even though
yeah,
like they were just fucking, there's just guy that had written the track list on a fucking the inside of a TDK,
yeah.
you know, and the guy had like putting the TDK on the outside and he'd like going, oh yeah, this is a live. He obviously taken like like a tape recorder into the gig, and it sounded fucking abysmal because when you got it home,
Oh yeah.
what? This is Slayer, really? Fuck, it
And
sounds
then a
like
copy of
Venom.
a copy of a copy. By the time you get it right, each generation
Yeah,
got worse of
yeah,
quality.
yeah. Just the quality was horrendous, and you think, shit, I paid fucking £5 for this. Fucking hell.
But my reward is people be like, I did somebody, I don't know, one band, and they're like I said, George Lynch or something, and they reach out. It's somebody like in like another country. They're never gonna get to
Mm,
see him. I'm this
yeah,
close. George knows it's me. Because I just did an interview. He was giving me a lot of slack, busting me. He's a funny guy. He'll bust your stones. But he didn't care I had cameras. So he came over and he was just like literally soloing right in front of me, that close.
yeah,
That's like, first off, I thought it was pretty awesome. But at
yeah.
the same time, you get to share that with somebody else that, in another country or continent that's never gonna get to see that and be that close. Now you're this close. You're sharing the
That's
punk. To me, it's that bootleg spirit that I got to share a moment. I'll never see a Zeppelin
yeah,
thing or whatever it was.
yeah,
Now they could
yeah,
have that moment,
yeah.
maybe.
You're sharing that experience with someone who will never be able to see them.
Right. That's how I look at it. But I also trying to block anybody with the camera because then I hate that.
No, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. And when I watch videos on YouTube that I know that I'd never been able to see those bands, and I never saw Skinner.
Yeah.
So when I people have taken like bootleg VHSs of Skinner, you're like, wow, I would love to have been there. That's incredible. Even
Yeah.
though they sound the shit, it's the experience of like actually that person was there.
Well, I would never say not to do it. I encourage them. I'll say, I'll put the link in the show, and I usually have the artist on. I'm like, go to the show. This is
Yeah,
just because if you couldn't go right now,
yeah,
play it and get excited. You just nothing takes away from the experience of a show. Don't block
yeah,
anybody. Don't take away from
yeah,
anybody. I try
yeah,
making sure it's a decent footage and sound best I can. It's
yeah.
it doesn't take away from the band, and
No,
it's a sign of flattery. You just don't want to block other people with your cameras in front of them. That's just like blocking somebody just being rude, you know.
Yeah,
But to
yeah,
me, oh my God, some of my favorite footage is all bootleg from bands,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Mine too. Mine too. When I don't care about the quality of the sound. I
How
just
many
know that.
thrash bands now have official albums out? I mean, videos out. They don't. You're looking at all bootleg footage.
Yeah, yeah, and they don't do them. I like a lot. Well, you see the younger bands do, but they do that to promote themselves
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
have to.
But like,
They have
wouldn't you like to see some bootleg footage of you back in the day that you're like you didn't have a record label do? You're like, what? There's footage of me from
I've
out of
seen I've
VHS.
seen I've seen bootleg footage of me.
But you know what
I've
I'm saying?
seen,
If new stuff comes up, it's exciting to be like, oh, that's cool. That's a moment in
yeah,
time.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know we're critical of ourselves, but you know what I'm saying? For other fans, we're like, that's
I'm
cool.
I don't know. Maybe I'm slightly autistic as well. I think everybody's on the spectrum, you know. But but because like I see footage of me, old footage of me. I just fucking criticize it. I'm like, oh my god, I fucking played that note wrong. I played that wrong. Oh, that solo was fucking terrible.
I think we're all like that. I don't like editing myself in a video. Like if I go back, whatever.
I
The
hate
last
it.
person I want to hear is myself, and it's not about anything I've done or said. I just don't want to
Yeah.
hear myself. I'm with myself.
Well, I
Just
kind of
like
switched
Johnny
myself
Depp doesn't
off.
want to watch his own movies. He's like, I already did it. I can't see it. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like somebody could play my music. Somebody. I was in London and I was in a club. I was in a pub in London, and just out of the blue, somebody put one of our songs on, and I fucking thought, oh my god, please don't, please switch it off, play something else. And honestly, it went through me. And I know that sounds a bit strange because like you should be proud of what you've done, and I am proud of what I've done, but I just don't like hearing myself for some reason. I just don't like it. I've like
But do you think the attention of hearing it when you're sitting there listening to it is different because it feels like if you like it, you're like, ah, it's my music. But if you don't like it, I think there's a weird spot of being comfortable with people liking your music and you enjoying your music with other people without it feeling pompous, because it's not, without you feeling that way, a person, by
mm,
saying, oh, I'm enjoying listening to my music too and celebrating it. Thank you. This is great. We all like it. I enjoyed making it. I get to enjoy you guys enjoying it now. That's a weird
well, I
spot for
could
an artist to be. That's a good
well,
spot
it's kind of weird because I like listening to the last album, and I listen to the last album, and I think I'm really proud of that, and I think,
because that's who
yeah,
you are
that
right now, though.
yeah,
you're not a forced directing guy anymore. That's another guy.
no,
That's one of your kids that grew up differently. They didn't maybe go to
yeah,
college or you're not so proud of them now, but they had some good moments
yeah.
in their prime.
I sent it to my daughter for Christmas, the CD, and she said, "Is that all you can send me for my Christmas?" Is that fucking album? And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like I thought you'd appreciate it." She didn't, but she's into metal as well. You know, like
Right.
she likes metal. But I'm like, I thought, oh well, I thought I was doing a good thing. You know, she says, "No, you're just being cheap because you can." Because you didn't buy me a Christmas present. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake!
I've
I
made my
said,
own gift problems to myself like that. I just think I don't know. I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't know. I thought it was a good gift.
exactly. I thought, like, I'll give you a hat next year. I'll send you a hat next year.
You know,
No, she
I'll
hated
send you
me
a
for it.
Hallmark movie.
Absolutely.
You know,
No,
I
she
think it
hated me
has
for
it.
it. Took it a long time to forgive me.
That's awful. I've done the same thing at home with my family, so I didn't want to think. I actually block it out because I was in a dog house for quite a while. Um, I just hate gifts now. So
Oh yeah,
the album, your last album was very strong sounding. The production finally, you
yeah,
like it. You're proud of it.
yeah.
You're not slowing down. The riffs are good. I mean, you know, that's quality. Now you had a problem getting was it a drummer for a while, right? Finding a true drummer that's going to stick with you
Two and a
and
half
keep with the
years.
band.
2.5 years it's taken us
I
to
mean,
get a
even
drummer.
Spinal Tap was like, "Come on, guys, come on, Virus. Do you know our drummers? Because
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
One of
you had
ours.
bigger drum problem than Spinal Tap did for a while.
Yeah, but
So
I didn't want anybody exploding on stage.
he died gagged. He died gagged on vomit, but it wasn't his.
Yeah,
He had dust for that. Uh, but
yeah. It's a spontaneous gardening accident.
okay. That's such a great movie. To
Oh,
this
love it,
day.
love it.
But you have a drummer now. Is it? Do you think it's pretty locked in. He's a younger
Yeah,
guy, it
well, I
looks
think
like, right?
yeah, I think he's a young guy. He's only 22, you know, so he's a young
Oh
guy.
wow, he's really young. He's got
Yeah,
that
he's
new
really
young
young.
guy smell.
Yeah, well, you know, like he's making the grade though. You know, like I'm like these young guys, they can just listen to something, pick it up, and play it, and that's
Mhm.
what I like about it. These older guys, you know, like if I was to get an older guy in, I think he'd struggle a bit. He would struggle because
Yeah.
I would get pretty pissed off. With a young guy, you can understand, you know, because like he's just learning. He's only been playing the drums for a couple of years, you know, and he's already at
Good.
a good level, you know. So and like you know, I keep pushing him, I keep pushing him, and you know, it's like me mentoring him into like molding him into something that he could be, and he could be very, very, very good. But he's got anxiety problems and stuff like that, you know, that we have to like address these issues. But you know, but like because we haven't even done a gig with him yet, and our first gig is in March. In March on March the 7th will be our first gig with him. But he's gig ready now. He's gig ready. I can tell. I've had plenty of drummers, as you know.
Mhm.
I've like gone through drummers like I've gone through fucking Raspberry Jam. But he's he's fit in really well, and of course our my guitarist was sick for a long time. Um, his girlfriend passed away
Oh,
um,
that's awful.
practically in front of him in his house. So like
Oh,
yeah, it was
poor
really
guy.
bad. So he went off the rails. You know, like it was hard to get him back, but he is now back, and he's in a better place.
Good,
And
good.
and I'm glad because it was touch and go. It was really touch and go with him because I didn't think I could continue with him, but like he's kind of got himself together. He's back playing. He's back playing with us. We had our first rehearsal like a couple of weeks ago. My voice is a bit raspy because like we had a second rehearsal just the other day, and I kind of pushed my voice a bit. But he's still got the chops. So like I can't get rid of him because like he's that good. He's very, very, very good. And I you know I've been in Europe with him. I toured in Europe with him. So like you know that's one factor of it. The other factor is like the bass player got long COVID, so like he was ill for a while as well. So you know like it all just came crashing down in front of me, and I thought I basically thought it was near the end of the band. I really did, and but I never gave up. I just thought to myself, you know, like I'm not going to give up with this. I'm just not going to give up. It sounds like I'm giving up, and and it was like stuff on. I put stuff on Facebook saying like, you know, this is it. If I don't get anybody, if I don't get anybody soon, I'm calling it a day. You know, but it just shows, you know, if you just persevere and you push through. And I'm not a quitter. I'm not a quitter. And I think, you know, if you've got if you listen to your music and you think you know, and it's just I think well that's just as good as anything that's out there now. I think so. It's just as good, not better, but just as good as anything out there. Then and I know what it sounds like live, and I know we could deliver live, and then I'm happy. I'm happy to carry on as long as I can get everybody together and we're all in the
Right.
same.
But if you enjoy it though, I mean, because obviously we talk some about money, but like to me, if somebody I get all that music done to me, and I'm like, I can hear an album go, I go, you guys are fantastically talented musicians. I don't like
Yeah,
the album. I can't have
yeah,
you on my show.
yeah.
I
Okay.
don't want to ever be jerking anybody's feelings. I'm like, you guys are fantastic. Guitar players, bass, you guys got the chops. I just personally, this is where it comes to the part that it doesn't, blow the skirt up or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
that's the opinion part where music touches your soul, each person differently. And
yeah,
that's where I'm
yeah,
like, but I can also say you guys are great in what you
yeah,
do.
yeah.
I just can't get excited behind it and bring you on
Mm,
a show. Like
mm-hmm.
you, I can, but we also talk off the air. Like there's a handful of people I talk to off the air that I'm much more
Yeah,
friendlier with than some artists that I'm bros. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
But
there's a handful.
this is not like an interview. This is just like a chat.
This is
Just
how I
like
am all the time, dude. This is how my show's involved. I've literally
yeah,
Like literally, John Anderson literally talked to us out for 2 minutes. We just
yeah,
talked. I like literally, I don't even do that anymore because here's the thing: there are Coke fans out there, also not just the drug and the things. They're also fans of you, right? There are Coke
yeah.
fans out there that may never get to talk to you or have a
No,
conversation. Now, but you go online, Coke, when did you play guitar? If it comes up organically, that's fine. But they all ask you the same questions. It's like an
yeah, yeah,
interrogation. I can probably go
yeah,
and find a lot of bands and hear the same 15 questions, and people go, "You didn't even ask them about this." I'm like, "'Cause I've heard it 20 times already, and if you haven't heard it, you need to go back and
yeah,
listen to it." I have this person in front of me right now.
yeah,
Why not
yeah,
have a unique conversation?
yeah.
Get an opinion,
That-
get a thought of an artist, what they're thinking.
yeah, but it also relaxes you. You also like you can speak your mind, and you can free up some anxieties that you have.
Which sometimes can be bad, and sometimes the artist will be like, "Hey, I probably shouldn't have
Well,
said that. Could you make sure that
yeah,
doesn't come in the
yeah,
air?" And I will
yeah,
because I don't want
yeah,
anybody getting in
yeah,
trouble. I'm not that
yeah.
guy either.
Could you edit what I said about Eddie Van Halen, please?
No, you know, it's the bad things. It might slip like a date or a release or something. No one's
Oh,
like
right,
trash
right.
talking, right? You know, because of the conversation, or they'll say something in a way it might be like too early to say, and or or it might go, you know what, the media might twist it, and it's not that way. And I try not
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
that show.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
positive. This
No,
is positive.
no, your show's great. I've watched a couple of your shows. Like I watched them on YouTube, and some of them I saw the one with Wino.
Yes,
It's
he's
like,
been on a few times.
yeah, I noticed that. I noticed he's been on like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, yeah, what's the big thing with Wino? Is it and like and he's going on about I think the last one was about the Obsessed album.
Yep, that was a good
Yeah, he was.
album.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's great. He's a great guitar player.
Hmm.
I don't know him personally, but I mean, I know Wino. I know the band Wino.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, he's in a lot of different bands, and you know, he's another person I'll talk to out there a lot.
Mm,
And well, I'm very supportive of. During COVID, he came on and he was talking about his opinion about the COVID shots,
yeah,
and
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of people were against what he said. But my point was, and I always say this, is like I don't want to be controversial with anybody, but I'm like,
Mm,
the problem is
mm,
if this side of the group saying this, you can do the same like with the United States now with politics, each side. If you say
yeah,
this and you say this and everybody's definite, you're never going to do anything. Let's get a
yeah,
dialogue going on. So to
yeah,
me, I was like, all right, well, I know what's your thoughts. Tell us. Let's have a
yeah,
discussion. Let's get a
yeah.
discussion going. He got beat up so bad on the internet. He's like, I don't care.
Wow.
But he put it out there, what he thought and he felt. I respect somebody once again for doing that. I don't always have to agree with what you say or support or not support.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just a
he's pretty
conduit.
robust in what he says, though, isn't he? He backs it up.
Absolutely. He will back it
Yeah.
up. He's got stories. You know, he's been good to me. So like there are artists I've had a bunch of times, This is like what your second
Mm,
time on. I've had him there's a handful of artists you'll see that come on a bunch because
yeah,
the real deal.
yeah. Because like it's like these days it's like you got to fucking watch what you say to the woke generation.
Hmm.
You got because like people are like easily fucking offended by what you say these days. And I like to speak my mind, I really do. And it's got me into trouble so many times. You know, like
I'm a
with
little cautious
interviews.
about it sometimes. If I feel like we're dancing somewhere, I'll do that, or I won't edit the person, but we'll kind of do it in a way where we just keep it real. But we don't
Yeah,
want I don't want to have one word not intended a certain way ruin an
mm,
entire positive conversation
yeah,
because
but
geographically I've had somebody on numerous
yeah,
times, another legend,
right.
and he said something that I'm like, when he said it to me, I go, oh, I'm like, dude, you can't
you
say that.
you
But
can't
where
say
he's from, you can, I guess. I don't know. I chopped that out. I'm like,
all right, yeah,
you can't use that phrasing. He didn't mean it bad, but
yeah,
he actually meant it in a nice way. I'm like,
yeah.
that's not the way you say that anymore.
No,
You
no,
know,
you can't say that shit
but but
anymore.
but but the point was, I wasn't editing him like to be a different person. I'm like,
Yeah,
we'll just put that word out of there.
yeah.
Yeah. If you see artists on, I tell anybody, if you'll be on
You know,
again. You see artists
because
on
a lot of
again.
a lot of artists are like, you know, they like to make a statement. You know, like especially artists that come from the '80s, from our generation. You know,
Hmm.
so they like to say what they feel, and sometimes what they
Hmm.
feel can rub people up the wrong way, and you've got to be really cautious about what you say in interviews. I understand that now because when I did interviews in the past, and I did it with like a Dutch journalist. He just twisted my fucking words, like, and he was asking me about oh, and he's saying like your first album got really rubbed up really badly, and then I started saying, well, what was out at the time was there wasn't much out at the time, and that all the bands were crap. he was like, he's like that. Oh, really? So you really think Venom was crap? You really think Slayer was crap? And I says, no, no, I'm not saying that. And he edited it all the bit out that I was trying to defend
There's like
myself.
probably 500 bands like that out there, and Venom and Slayer were like in the front line, and you're talking about everyone in the back line. That's why I love this. Doing a podcast. I've done it sometimes. I'm so burned out, but I'm like doing
Mm,
like a video, and it's not
mm,
edited out. I don't chop it in a different order or take highlight.
yeah,
Like in a way, like I chop it down. I might take a highlight and say this was funny. I'll put it up. Watch the
yeah,
whole show,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
not cut in a way where
No,
it's literally the entire show as it is, except
yeah,
maybe a word that may be offensive to somebody nowadays. Besides
yeah.
that, this is who the artist
Oh, I
is. So
can.
you can go if a media magazine says this person said this, and they'll always put my interview with it. Watch the
Yeah,
video and hear the whole context. So at least the artist
yeah,
has a chance with this
yeah.
format.
Yeah, yeah, well, definitely to like to speak their mind, really, and I wouldn't say anything strongly offensive
Oh,
against anybody. I don't do that because I'm not that type of person. But like I do have my views. I've got my views on certain styles of music, certain people in the music business that, and I'll mention no names that
no,
have
but like
rubbed.
I say, you said Tom about Tom. He didn't come out. He wasn't like really into you and stuff. But that's not slanderous. That's like he was on a bus.
Mm.
Now, could he have been dealing with his own issues? Could
Oh,
he
definitely.
been? There's a whole other side to that. But you're saying this is how young Coke Finlay was on a tour and excited to see these guys, and they were inside, and I don't know what's going on. Now,
Yeah,
that's your
yeah.
experience. Does that mean you
That
don't
was
like
my
Tom? No, no, it doesn't. But it means that's what you had then. And
no,
Tom could have been
no.
having problems or whatever. I'm not defending. I'm saying we've learned that we don't know the other side. Why an artist acts away, insecurity.
No, you
They're
could have.
anxious.
You're right. You could have some sort of mental breakdown or something like that. I didn't know, but at the
Burn
time
out his voice. He has to talk afterwards because of his
yeah,
voice.
he just doesn't want to speak to anybody. But like as a fan, as we were disappointed because like we'd been on the tour with him, and I'd actually rubbed shoulders with him. Um, the strange thing was that we never ate with them. We were in a different hotel. They distanced themselves from any of the other bands. We were in the hotel with Crater. That's how we got on so well. And because
Yeah,
like we had like mad fights and like pillow fights and
yeah.
pouring things on each other. We're just young
Totally
guys.
sounds totally hardcore. Pillow
Oh
fights.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, totally. We're like on the ground, they're pouring whiskey into you from a
I
bottle.
know my point is like when you think of metal, if someone's like, "Yeah, Venom Satan," we're like, "Yeah, we like the music," but we all like dogs, and we're gonna have pillow fights, and we hang out and watch
Yeah,
the same horror movies. Like, it's not that bad a group of people. It's usually
sitting
the
in but
nicest group
sitting
of
in bed.
people.
Whenever he's out partying, I'm sitting in bed reading Terry Pratchett. There you go.
Oh, yeah, back then it was Stephen King books. Like, I mean,
Yeah, fuck
it was a
yeah, man. Of
community.
course.
Just like I was gonna say, your drummer shouldn't. The good thing about coming up, I tell him the positive thing is being a drummer in a metal community. If you're gonna be a
Mm,
drummer and you have
mm,
anxiety, this is a community to do it.
yeah,
Reviews are different, are bad for everybody. Don't read any reviews. Everybody gets bad reviews. What I'm saying.
yeah.
But the show and the people, they're all there for you. So
Mm,
that's a good thing for somebody, to push himself if he can do that.
yeah,
It's a
definitely.
positive group of people, and it's a good community for you.
Yeah, basically, it is and it isn't because you've
Oh,
always.
here comes the headline right now. Here it comes.
Oh, we
Coke
go.
Finlay hates his own audience.
We've got the detractors. We've got the detractors, and there's a lot of them that like. I don't know. The Facebook is a poisonous place. It's a very, very poisonous place because like you can say something about somebody else's music, and then they go and check your music,
Mhm.
and they say, "Well, your music is shit. I've just listened to it, and it's crap. How can you say that about such and such a person?" Like,
Which is fair. Which is fair. You put yourself out there. I like I
yeah, but
example.
I'm very sort of vocal, and on Facebook, I'm far too vocal.
That's why we're fleshing this conversation out back and forth. There are podcasters that when I started that were like, I don't hang out with a lot of them. There's a few I'll recommend on my page. Say check these guys out because there's some
Yeah,
real people I like. If I'm
yeah,
recommending them at this point, it's because I like them. But
yeah.
in the beginning, they weren't very supportive of me, and they were bigger than me, and they were criticized. Nobody cares about asking about guitars and this and that. The things I was evolving into, they wanted me to follow
Mm,
this format, which is very uncomfortable for me. I'm like,
mm,
I don't, this isn't feeling right for me. I'm gonna do this. They don't care. And now I've been rewarded by that many people have enjoyed it. My show's gotten bigger by them,
mm.
and I
Yeah.
appreciate it, and I don't take it for granted. So thank you, people out there. And that's just because hopefully it's what they want to hear is different. And I see those
Do you know?
people copying; they're doing it similar.
Do you know why, Sean? Because you're honest, and you you've got compassion for the music. You've got compassion for the artists. People respect you that way. That's why you're so big. Is
I'm not
because
gonna
like
bang anybody for for that either. Well, thank you. I'm
no
not gonna.
no, but they do respect you because they wouldn't have conversations with you if they didn't respect you, and people research before they have a conversation with you. So
That's a good point right there with other podcasters. They don't realize that. They'll get online, like
yeah,
little groups of podcasters. Somebody did it
yeah,
recently, and they were bagging a few artists for not coming on. Management looks at those things,
of course they
and they
do.
will be like, if you're going to bag that person, I'm not putting my artist on your show. Or if you
Yeah,
were ghosted, it might be for another reason. That's you don't take it
yeah,
personal. You just go back again. They might not
yeah.
know who the heck you are. You don't ever take anything
But
personal in the music
it's
business.
disrespectful. It's
Oh yeah,
disrespectful.
I would
You
never
know.
say anything about this. I would be. That's why I'll have you on. And I'll have Air Supply on again at some point. I had Air Supply on. You know,
Wow. Air supply.
I had on both of them separately. And the first one, they go, I'm like, what do you say to somebody? Or just like how I had Jeff Toll, and I'm like, what do you say after all these years to somebody that's done all these interviews?
Fuck me.
With
That's
Air
an old
Supply,
band.
yeah, so he came on for Air Supply, and, like we talked about his tattoos. We talked about how he
Mm,
was going to do a song with Judas Priest, and how just
wow.
stuff like that. Yeah, they but in the '80s, they had a lot of fans who were rockers, but they couldn't come out and be friends with them publicly because Air Supply was, which is lame. So we talked about stuff like that, and then I had on
Yeah, but they were
the
so
other,
commercial. They were
I,
so commercial. They had to keep that commercial image up,
no,
didn't they?
but the rockers couldn't talk to them. They were fine talking to anybody. The guys
Wow.
in Air Supply are the most mellow, coolest guys ever. I was I was teasing him like, how you get your new album? You'd be inspired by spilling wine on your bus. What's your new inspiration?
Wow.
They were good. I said, I don't know. When I talked to the guitar player, I said, when I was little, their songs are so big, even if you don't know who they are, you know them. I said, I wrote a
Oh,
song,
I know.
I wrote a song. I say to him, I said, and I knew your song, but for some reason I just didn't know the name of it. And I said, as a
Love
young
is
kid, I
like
said, I wrote it.
oxygen.
No, I did. Well, that's like that's sweet. I was like, it was love. Oh, it was love something. Now I just what is that song now? I
I
literally
thought it
just
was.
lost when you
I
said
thought
that.
their biggest
Love
hit
is
was
like
love.
oxygen is sweet. No, love.
No, no. It's air supply.
Air Supply is uh
I thought
Lost
it
in
was love.
Love.
Oh, lost in love. Oh yeah. Okay.
So I said I wrote a song called Lost in Love, and then I realized I heard the song. I go, wait, that's the title of your song, Lost in Love. I go, that
Mm,
can't be my title anymore. And I said this as a kid, right to him, and he says to me, he goes, you could name your song Lost in Love. I go, no, I
yeah.
can't. I go, you wrote the Lost in Love. Nobody can ever write a song Lost in Love at this point. Not be like, Air Supply already did that. You know what I mean? That song got to such a
Yeah.
level. You can't write Lost in Love now without being compared to it. Um, but like I said, those guys are great. If I have them on, I really enjoyed those guys, I appreciate their
Yeah.
songwriting. I don't have to listen to them all the time, but I can sit down and say, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of
I also
course.
listen to your albums or stuff. And I think that's the difference with me and other shows is I really do
Do the
appreciate and
research.
find the part. Yeah, well, I find the part that I like about the band, and I'll do it. I'm not going to bag you. I'm not going to. If I don't like you, you're not coming on. I've got tons of emails from people that did some horrible stuff and said some stuff where they get taken off the show. I'll delete the interviews. I won't post them. You know.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's a lot. So right now to you, this is your second show. You'll be on again. So you like a lot of the other guys. I like you're real. And then hopefully we're gonna hear some music from
Well,
you. Are you
yeah. We're
working on
gonna.
some songs live?
Well, yeah, like I said, like the new songs we've got we're going to stick them in live, and then you'll probably I'll be working hard on a new album, something I wanted to be a bit different. So like I said, it's going to be more hardcore than it is going to be like a thrash album, and then
Mhm.
people either like it or love it. But like, I think a lot of hardcore fans will love it a lot more because again, it's a crossover. So I haven't got a title for it yet. I'm going
Oh, you should call it DRI instead of crossover. You should call it DRI.
to yeah, I
Somebody's
should call
probably
it.
already done that, actually.
You know what I should call it? I should call it crossover two.
Yeah.
Then I'll get the emails from Spike. What the fuck are
Like, what
you
are you?
doing?
You're like,
What the
what?
fuck are you doing?
We're
It's
back.
my fuck. That's my fucking album.
All right. You could do Lost in Love too, then.
Oh, Lost
I
in
know
Love.
the
There you
guys in
go.
Air Supply, and they'll be fine with you doing that. They're
Oh,
much more laid back.
well, they're
Virus, Lost in
pensioners.
Love too. That with the album.
Well, I'd
Oh,
probably
that
be
could be a
doing them a
cover for the
favor.
album. What? Oh,
Well, yeah, I think I could play that. I think I
I'm sure
could
you
play
could.
Lost in Love.
He's left-handed too, guitar player.
Is he left-handed? Wow,
Yes.
I'm left-handed who plays right-handed. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
left-handed. I go, you. I go, oh, that's hard. Like, because you have to
yeah,
play the right-handed guitar and stuff to flip it around, and you know,
yeah. Because I started playing left-handed and I wasn't very good at it, and then I changed to right-handed because I started learning classical guitar, and my dad took me to this guitar teacher and said, teach him how to play guitar. I says, but Dad, I play left-handed guitar. He goes, nah, you play right-handed guitar. So
and
like,
you'll like it. Lefties do it right or something. Two lefts aren't
yeah,
wronger.
lefty's the devil's hand.
Yeah.
So I had to learn right-handed. So I've always played right-handed. I can play a little bit left-handed still, but like nowhere like I can play the right hand.
I can't
But
play either well, so don't feel bad.
you're fucking you're taking the piss. People who say that are actually very good.
No, you know it is. I'll say, but I've had on people on. I'll have like Dweezil on. I'll have other guitar players on. I'll say, you know what? I've got one of the
Wow.
best guitar players in the world on, and one of the worst.
Yeah.
Talk about being on a spectrum. You
Yeah,
know,
Dweezil is fantastic, isn't he? He's a
he is
fucking
great. He's on a lot. He's on my show a lot too. I do a lot with him.
amazing guitar player.
He is as nice also as a person
Yeah, he seems
as
it. He seems there's like three guitarists I can say like they seem like the most humblest, nicest people on the planet is Joe Satriani, Steve Vai,
Mhm.
and Dweezil Zappa. Those three guys, I think,
I
are,
met two of them. Like I met C5 when I was younger and had dinner with him at a
yeah,
record label. Nicest
I think
guy.
he's
He sat with all of us. We were just students. He sat with the students and not with the bigwigs on the floor. Had a beer and pizza with us.
who was that?
He was at a. It was when I was interning for a record label at the time, right, for Relativity, and
All right,
he
all
came.
relativity. Anyway.
So Steve I did a press thing for the big album he did, the Breakthrough
Passion
album.
and warfare.
Thank you. Yes. So he came in, but in the office they just got pizza and whatever and beer. But he came in and he sat down with us, the interns on the
Mm,
floor. He had his full long hair, his pants, the boots, everything. He just sat with us instead
yeah.
of hanging out with the bigwigs. He hung out with
Wow.
the freaking dorky kids.
It's
And the energy he has an energy that I've talked to these people that vibrates off of him like a good whirl. Like you're like,
yeah,
what is that? There's something about
yeah,
him. Um,
yeah,
I realized then that you could be nice because I just bumped into Eric Clapton. This is Atlanta in the mall. He was doing a show there,
yeah,
and I ran out. And I said, "Oh, I got my girlfriend buy a cassette so I could have him sign it." Like glass of money because I was a student.
yeah.
I ran up to him. I said, "Could you, you know?" I met him. I said, "Could you sign this?" He's like, "Nope." So having
That's
that, and then deal with
yeah,
Steve Vai, I'm
yeah,
like, now I know how an artist should be, and that set the path.
yeah,
And of course,
yeah,
luckily, I've done a lot of things with Dweezil on his
yeah.
website and stuff over the years, and both nice guys. And I'm sure Satriani is gonna be nice too. I mean,
Yeah,
people
he's
are.
very big.
Mhm.
But they move around in the same circles, don't they? Him and Vi,
Well,
and
yeah. Well,
like
they learned. I mean, Vai
well,
actually taught him a little bit, along with Eddie Van Halen.
it was actually the other way around. Joe Satriani was Vi's teacher.
No, oh yeah, Vai. I'm saying Dweezil Zappa. I'm sorry,
Oh, Dweezil
Dweezil.
Zappa. Oh,
Dweezil
well,
taught.
well, well,
He learned
well,
from
well, he used to
Vi.
play. he used to play for Frank, didn't he? I mean, he
He
was like
did.
Frank's guitar player. But
That's why
like,
Frank said, "Hey, I need you to. Can you teach my son some stuff?" And Deuce was like, "Oh, I know." And Steve was like, "Oh, I
I
don't know if
think
I messed this up."
I think you know that feeling you were getting from Vi, that was something that was from Frank,
Yeah,
because Frank was that kind of guy as well. You know, he
yeah.
was like there was a fucking energy in that guy. You know, that was just like outer worldly. You know, and a lot of people said that to me that had met Frank Zappa and said like this guy is on another fucking planet. You know, this guy is like something from another dimension because
He
he's
he. I couldn't imagine how, but at the same time, what's really interesting is, and I'm gonna say, not because I did the interviews with Steve with Dweezil, because on his website, I reached out and said, "Hey, you got no new content? Let's do something." So we started doing these audio documentaries on Dweezil's website. I'm actually telling people
mm,
go check them out if you're a Frank fan, because each album Dweezil's got a great memory. He would talk about all the musicians because they're shared musicians from Frank's things. He would tell stories about his dad that I'd never heard before because it's coming out in a flowing conversation of Dweezil's
yeah,
life. I've heard stories
yeah,
about
yeah.
Frank and and,
It's not
and
like an
Eddie Van
interview.
Halen. Yeah,
It's not like an interview. It's like a fucking chat.
and so you go through the albums. There's a lot of stuff on his site, and now he's got
Mm,
new YouTube. He's putting stuff up too. That's gotten a lot of press too, and with some of the stuff we've done, which is funny, and it came up, and they mentioned it in a Rev magazine, an interview that from I with Steve I. I'm sorry, with Dweezil was talking about how Eddie taught him how to play guitar, but it was an interview I did,
wow.
so it got mentioned in the same
Mm.
paragraph. um, Eddie Van Halen, Dweezil Zappa, and Laughing Monkey Music Sean. I'm like, my name should not be in Guitar World mentioned with those two guys. Hilariously, the funniest paragraph I've ever read in my life. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's like 15-year-old me is over the moon.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but people check
Definitely.
out the Dweezil Zappa's stuff because if you're a Frank fan, he's all kinds of little stories that I've never heard of that Frank did. Like how
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? But once again, Frank, real musician, you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it all comes down to it. I want to wrap this up, but I want to say thank you. I'm glad we caught up. We're not gonna wait so long this time. Let's catch up again later on this year. Let's
Definitely.
talk about where we are musically,
Hopefully, I'll have an album
you
out by
know,
then.
hopefully. If not, we'll do a couple. You know, it's always a fun talk.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want to talk, it's okay. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. It's all good.
The only thing,
Nothing's personal.
the only thing I want to say is like we've
Yeah.
never been able to get over to the States. We want to get over there. So I'm trying to sort something out, trying to get a promoter sorted there. But it's difficult. It's very difficult because like they don't want to pay money.
No.
Promoters don't want to pay money. To get a decent booking agent is difficult. So if you know anybody out there, or you know somebody who knows somebody out there that I could get in contact with,
That's
then
anybody out there, guys. Anybody out there that knows that can make it financially doable. He's not looking to be eating
yeah,
caviar. Just wants to be
no
able to
fuck.
pay his. I know what I'm saying,
We'll
but I
be
mean,
we'll be eating we'll be eating Dunkin' Donuts for 2 weeks.
and you'd be happy because you
I'll
don't have
be
Dunkin' Donuts over there.
I'll be happy and I'll be happy and fat.
So yeah, so we'd love to have you over here. I mean, some bands
Yeah.
can't do it. Some bands figure it out. I mean, Tony Dolan is always figured out how to do it. You know,
Yeah. But it's also the prestige of the name. The
there is,
name
there
Venom.
is, there is, and there
Like
also it's who he
because
is.
it's who he is, but and it's because he's consistently playing. He's playing all the time. So
Right.
like it because he's been to America quite a few times and South America. Like he's garnered that favor of
But he's
every,
also
every
earned it, like in a way where not just
oh
that is
fuck yeah, of course
no,
he's
no, no.
earned it.
What I'm saying is like he is the friendliest person. He is like the face
Yeah,
of Venom. It doesn't even matter
yeah.
anymore because whatever the band comes into, he's in doing now Venom Inc. It's his leading it anyhow. I'm there.
If he started another band, he would
Right.
still get
It's
them
his
going.
personality that's always driven the band anyhow because he's the only personality
Yeah,
of
he's
that's
he's an
always out with the
incredible
fans. Right. He's
incredible
the most
guy.
friendly. He'll take
Yeah,
time for anybody. Doesn't matter big or small. He'll give you a full time, and he's like that with everybody for his whole career, and that's something that helps bring you back to places. Though, of
but at the same time, he's very shrewd. He's very, very shrewd as a businessman.
course, he is.
He's very shrewd. That's why he's got to where he is today. Is because he knows what he went for, and he went for it. He knows what to go for, and he went for it. And that's the way Tony works. Tony doesn't. he doesn't suffer fools gladly. He'll never be walked all over because he knows the music business too well.
Yep.
And then when they contact him because they want him because they know how good he is, and
He is good.
he's a fantastic musician as well because he did a gig for me, and he learned our set in a week, our whole set. He learned it in a week, and I was dumbfounded. And he sent me videos, and he went, "Does it go something like this?" I went, "You fucking know it goes something like that."
And that bass tone of his is phenomenal.
Oh, it's
Oh,
fucking incredible. I just saw him recently. I met up with him recently at a festival in Newcastle, and it was like we were just like old pals. We just like hugged and fucking shared a beer, and we went out for a night out. We got
yeah.
absolutely royally pissed, the two of us.
I can imagine. I can't even. I couldn't imagine. After I've been talking for like 4 years now. I'm gonna
Uh,
finally. He's finally gonna be over here. It was right before COVID and everything else. He's finally gonna be here
yeah,
in January, where we're finally gonna actually see in the human form.
yeah. Well, yeah, just like, don't be surprised if you have like a hell of a night out with him, because that's what it entails. Like he goes out and he enjoys himself. He's like,
Well, it'll be a show night, so we'll see. I'm gonna come down and see him early, and to see
yeah,
what
but the
his
thing is,
gig rituals are.
he takes time for that. You know,
Yeah,
he takes time out of his schedule to meet people, and just one hell of a friendly guy. I've never met a guy in this business who I feel so close to, because we're really close mates.
right, but he means it though.
He means
That's the
everything he
best part.
says. He means everything he says.
But that's also helped him though. I'm saying, but that's what's helped him ingratiate the path he's in for his whole
Yeah,
life. Like you meet him, if you're a club owner in America, he does one tour there, and you meet him once, you generally fall in love with him
yeah.
because he's a true guy. And you're like, you know what?
I
Let's figure this out. Let's get this to work because I know your work ethic. I know who you are now,
yeah,
and it's come to the top where and that's why we did an interview recently. I said people need to know, really need to know who you are, and not listen to all this other gobbledygook of who's in Venmo, who's
yeah,
not. This is who you are.
yeah,
Full steam ahead. None but love.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's because we work at it. We have to work at it because we've got nothing else.
It is. I do want to say, so people out there, so anybody out there, because I know different levels of, I've had a lot of different people listen to the show, whether it's a podcast or on YouTube. If you know anybody in management or you're friends with somebody that could even be a possible lead, Coke is on Facebook.
Yeah,
Reach out to him. Um, Even if you see this, you don't see it whenever this comes out, you see it later on. Coke's trying to get over for like a good part of his life now to the US to play. He was just over here visiting. So even if it's a later time, it's never too late to reach out to him with
no,
music
never.
connections because the world changes so much.
Yeah, exactly. And like I'm approachable. I'm an approachable guy. I mean, people can speak to me, and I'm pretty reasonable. I'm reasonable with people, and as long as they're reasonable with me, and
Yeah.
and I would love to get out there and thrash the fucking socks off the place, because I know we'd
If you
sound
were a
great.
jerk, this wouldn't be we wouldn't be doing show two if you were a jerk. You would and talk about show three. You're a good guy. That's my meter of humans. So if you see someone show a lot, go through my list
Yeah,
and there's like a lot of gifts at the same times.
yeah.
Those are solid dudes. Those are solid dudes.
We've always had a great conversation, Sean.
Yeah.
Like you know, when
But
there's never been any sort of awkward moments or anything.
no, because it's real and I find that a lot
Yeah,
with the more metal community. And I hope people support you. I'm gonna keep supporting you, especially now that you got your band together a little bit,
yeah,
you can move forward. So it's good to keep talking about the band. I'm a fan of you, just I'm a fan of Tony, whatever you do. Because we talk off the air. I talk to Tony off the air. So it's more than just
yeah.
that. But as far as this show goes, I want people to check out the band because the last album you did is phenomenal, you
Oh,
know.
thanks, man. I
And I have
appreciate
30 million albums sent to me all the time. And in my
that.
opinion, I'm talking about your album now because that's what I like. There's other good albums, but these are the albums I want to promote. I love your last album. I listened to it. I have a soft spot for me your early stuff because I love the original. There's albums that bands will go, ugh. I'm like, I like the early stuff. You know,
Yeah,
it's fun. It's a fun. I'm not saying they're not all Operation Mindcrime. It doesn't have to be. They might be Nevermind the Bollocks with the Sex Pistols. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
They might just be short,
yeah,
fun songs that are kind of
yeah. It's
they're fun.
just fun. Just and they're fun to play.
Right. That's what my point is. That's what those albums are to me. So don't beat yourself up. Uh, but the new
Yeah,
album is just the album's so good. I'm so looking forward to the new one, and I do like the fact you're going to do a change because you're inspired. You know,
yeah, yeah,
would you say
yeah,
you are?
yeah.
You're like 95 years old and you're still writing and you're walking. That's. I'm just kidding. I know you're 35. No, but the
I
fact that you're still
I
exciting to do music.
I use a
No,
Zimmer
but
frame on my skateboard.
right. I can't believe you skateboard. I'm like, oh, if I did, I'd break my hip. I'd be gone. I'm
Man,
afraid to walk and you're
man,
skateboarding.
I still do ramps. I still skate on ramps, man.
That would give me anxiety. I couldn't even watch you do that. Um, I can't do it
Love it.
now. Um, but so people go. He has Bandcamp. I was gonna say the last thing I said, go to Bandcamp. I'll put the link up underneath it.
Yeah,
Support him there, or just reach out to him personally.
yeah. Just
He may have
reach
some
out,
special
like,
deals for you. You know, online if you reach out
yeah.
to him, he might have those
And
little
if
deals.
anybody
So
and if anybody wants to chat and like to do a podcast or something, like I'm up
yeah.
for it, because I mean we've got a legacy, we've got a legacy, and it needs to be told the proper way because
Oh, see, I said legend. You said legacy. There's an LE and a G in there. I just didn't say it right. Oh,
yeah, legacy
I know, I
is
know, I know. Legacy does
is
sound pretty cool, actually.
like
Um,
legacy. Well, the legacy is the band. Legacy is not me. The
you're
legacy is
still
the band.
the point is you put some heartfelt music out and you're still doing it. To me, that puts it could
Yeah,
have been Air Supply has the same thing. They have their own legend legacy. They've stayed true to who they are. They had ups and
yeah,
downs. They had
that's
their own
fantastic.
they had their own downs just because it wasn't metal. They still had, you know,
No, no,
divorces and
I'm,
money and stuff.
I love Air Supply, man.
Right, but that's the whole point. It's about
I've listened to them since the 70s. I mean, god damn it, like they're an old band.
that
You
song comes
know,
on. A song comes on, and there's on the radio, and you're like, "Oh, this is so cheesy." And you're like, "Lost in Love." You also you say it's cheesy. Next thing you know, you're like halfway through the song. You're like, "Damn it! They roped
yeah,
me to get with this those
I
melodies."
actually
They're
like
so
I actually like this. I don't
yeah,
want to say it to anybody, but I actually
yeah. It's not
like
really
it.
cool. Yeah, that's how the world is. Everyone's listening to him quietly in their car. Um, Point is, you're a good band. You're a good musician, and I want people to check you
Yeah,
out. So check out the music. Bring them on for a
yep.
podcast. Bring them on for whatever. I think he'll do some yard work for you. I think no, no. Seriously, book them for shows. No, but no, but say book them for shows if you get gigs, anything musically. Reach out to him.
Yeah.
He's
We're
here.
dying to get back on the road again. Seriously,
Yeah,
trying
he
to get
needs to
back on the
play.
road again.
Put him on podcasts. You can do radio stuff. If you're a manager, you know you have ideas to get him over here with other English bands. If your other bands you work with are coming over here,
Yeah, definitely.
let's figure out a way to get him come over too and be the opening act. You know, or whatever. Just whatever it takes to
The,
make it happen.
there's a great untapped scene over here in the UK. Like there's such a scene, and it's only like the very few that get to go to the States and like and actually play some decent shows. You know, and I don't, what it is, Sean. I don't even mind playing like a greasy little shithole, like like something like CBGB's. It was like so small and
Which I've
gritty
never
and
been there, but I've heard how gross it is. Like the bathroom. Oh, I got so
yeah.
many germs. I got so many germ issues. I'm like, oh,
When I was touring with the Cro-Mags, the Cro-Mags said, I said to Cro-Mags, "Oh, we'd love to play CBGB's." When it's a fucking shithole.
yeah.
I went, "Oh my, you just destroyed my fucking dreams."
I look at the pictures. I go, I can literally smell the bathroom from looking at the picture.
Yeah, you can smell the
Did
bathroom. You can smell the bathroom from the stage.
yeah. I'm like, but the legends that played it, oh, it's so cool. But when it
Yeah.
really comes
Oh
down to
fuck
the
yeah.
place itself,
Oh wow,
oh,
man. Yeah, yeah.
but no, I get it. I get it. I'd love to see you play. I think there's fans who see you,
Oh,
and let's all put
sorry.
the energy out there, everybody. Let's all work together and help, get the word out.
Yeah, but
So people check them out. I can't say it enough. It's always fun talking to you, man. We'll talk some more offline. But say
yeah,
goodbye to the
definitely.
people.
Just let them know that we'll do a fucking fantastic show for them. And it's like it's untapped. It's an untapped audience for us. And even like if there's guys in South America that want us over, and we could, but because we'd love to go to South America, we'd love to go to North America, we'd love to go to Canada, and just like fucking prove it that we can thrash people's socks off, and I know we can do it because
Well,
we.
when we're done, I'm getting off the phone. I'm gonna get on the phone with Tom G Warrior, and I'm getting us the double bill set.
Yeah, tell Tom I'm not very happy with him.
I think he's gonna be like, I didn't even know I toured with him. He's gonna be like, I had
Oh
other stuff
God.
going on in my life. I
Yeah,
don't even remember.
he'll probably say to you like, virus who?
Exactly. And then he'll go, I'd love to meet him. He's probably totally not thinking. Everything's his opposite world now.
I've got no animosity towards
I
Tom
think
at
no, I
all.
know you don't. You were just talking about a fun a moment back then. I'm sure
Yeah,
it was. I'm sure there's something
it,
else going on, and as adults, we realize that now.
yeah, it
But at
was
the
the young
time, you're
me.
like, but as a kid, you're like, ah. When you're younger, you're
I was
younger.
like, it was the young me. It was thinking, like, I really want to meet these guys, hang out with them, because we're on tour with them for fucking 10 days, So, and then, but then it was the pomposity of it all, like, because they had separate hotels and
Yeah.
like the separate restaurants and separate buses and it was just all sort of detached. Whereas with Creator, it was like they were in our face 24/7, because like
Right. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, maybe at that point they're like, I had enough. I don't know how people do it. I would want to be alone. Like, I don't know. I don't know them. I've never talked to them. But like me, after being on
yeah.
tour with everybody, I'd be like, I could see myself wanting to be detached. Not that much. I'd want to talk to people, but I wouldn't mind being my own hotel. I'd be like, I can't stand people. I just can't.
I can understand that now, and he probably is. He has probably did have mental health problems back then. Like a lot of us did, but but like and I was very social because I wanted to interact, but but it was the crowds. It was the crowds that got me. I just didn't want the crowds. But to interact with the bands because I was trying to make a name for myself. So
Right.
so I wanted to interact with Tom in a way that I could because I wanted to speak guitars. I didn't want to speak to a Joe Public who didn't understand what the fuck I was talking about. So I was kind of standoffish with the crowd, and it kind of backfired on me because I was
Maybe he saw that and he thought you were a jerk to them. He doesn't want to deal with you if you're not nice to his crowd. Who
it
knows?
could have been because like we got into fights, with the crowds. And that wasn't good, you know, and we
Well, then
and
that could
and
be. And so that's saying we'll have to do
we got
you and Tom need to get together and have lunch now at this point. I feel like.
we'll get together sometime and I'll tell you all about the
Oh, we're gonna do.
nasty side.
I'm gonna be part of it now. It's gonna be the three of us talking. Oh no, I'm not. You're not getting out of that one.
You'll get
I got
let's
questions.
let's get a threesome with Tom.
I will. I get through to him. I will. That would be
Yeah, you
great.
get.
He'd be like, "Virus who? Who's this guy?
You go, what? I
This your
don't know.
co-host?" I'm
I
like,
don't.
"Don't you know Virus? You toured with him." All right,
Yeah,
man. Take
you
care,
fucking
brother.
did a whole tour with us.
All right. I'm gonna bail. Are you gonna bail? Let's talk again
Yeah,
soon. And have a good day. Thanks, man.
you too, man.